Hey guys, welcome to Munich and welcome to a very unique video today because it's not always about cars, but we have some new friends here, a new robot. I have here with me Michael. He's in charge of digital things in the plants at BMW. And we're going to talk about AEON, that's the name of this robot, from Hexagon, a new company. I guess not a new company for you guys.
They've been a partner for us for a long time when it comes to measurement and software, but now also with humanoid robots.
Okay, so in this video, let's talk about how this robot will help you build better cars, faster cars, maybe more efficient, how will help us in general maybe. But maybe let's start with this robot. What is this robot all about?
This robot is, I think, very special when it comes to humanoid. You've seen them dancing and fighting and all of that. But for instance, it has wheels, it has hands that can be replaced with tools, measurements, and so on. It has a whole fleet of sensors already built in, number of cameras and thermal and so on is in there. So it provides us with a lot of equipment already from the go-ahead. And thereby it can tackle tasks that currently, and you've been in the plant, I heard, not for the first time, of course, but yesterday, and you've seen some of our workplaces, could be a little bit boring, maybe not a comfortable environment, and we believe that we have here a solution where we can put a use case in there and yes, replace a worker, but the worker is not very happy where he is right now.
I mean, that was the first question I was going to ask you, because I saw Figure 01 in Spartan work, maybe 2 years ago, I remember, and I guess the topic there was like, oh, is this going to replace humans and all of that, but I guess you addressed this a little bit. Give me like one specific use case in where you're testing this one right now that this robot can do today. Well, I mean, we're going to show a demo of something else, but maybe something you're using today, like in plant Leipzig maybe.
Yes, exactly. So we have a lot of workplaces where we have a bin with material parts in there, which is not structured, so it's just a heap of parts. And then a robot can pick these parts and put into a cell, for instance, for welding. That's something we did with Figure, and that's something we could do here as well. This doesn't sound very exciting to you, I guess, doesn't sound exciting to the people who do it. To automate this currently with the existing technology is not cost efficient, because the box can be positioned like this or that, the parts can be all sorts in places. Now we need AI, physical AI, to sort this task out, and this is now available. And the way we can introduce it is really through showing the robot, we call it teleoperating, but also learning in a virtual world what the task is, and then apply it to the real world scenario, do some refinement, and then the robot can take over this task. And I think we have enough work for everyone in BMW to do something else, which is probably more interesting.
So why this robot and not a different one from another company? What makes this AEON special?
First of all, we need solutions for the US, for Europe, and for China. And the days are over when you could have one solution for every region of this world. We have many barriers, as you know, in today's economic environment, and we were looking for a solution within Europe. And we know Hexagon for a long time, and we're very excited when AEON came out and looked at the capabilities and gave it some challenges for the lab in Zurich to sort out, and we're very pleased with the results, and then said, let's try it in Leipzig. And that's what you've seen also today, where it was very successful. And given some capabilities, for instance, the wheels, you know, a manufacturing site has a great surface like this one. We don't need necessarily a walking robot. It's much faster like this. And
more efficient.
Also the opportunity to change out the end effectors, what it's called, so the hands with tools, scanning equipment that we have already, is also very attractive to us.
And you've talked about all these, markets and factories, plants. So this one is certified to work in any plant today, or does it have to be certified in each country, basically?
This is mostly a safety question, but we have certain standards. Once you have certified for safety, as any other automation equipment that can work side by side with a human, it's applicable to many plants. But then UK might be different nowadays because it's not the European Union anymore. But this is where the regions with US are different when it comes to safety as well. And of course, we depend on our partner, in this case Hexagon, where they are willing to operate and service the robots. But we want to have here a solution that works in all German plants to start off, and that captures a lot of our value chain.
So how much does your little friend weigh? It's about 60 kilos from what I heard, is that correct?
50 kilos, I believe, and 165 size, so I'm a little bit taller.
And how many sensors in general and like cameras do you recall from the I think they're over like 30, right, or something
yeah,
like that.
I think, but I have to refer that to our
To the
AEON
experts.
friends because it's still in development and they know much better what's going on inside.
Gotcha. So maybe let's go actually show how it actually works. I guess we can
Of
walk
course.
to this car and then maybe
Let's
talk a
take a
little bit
look.
about this.
Yeah.
So body in white, you can actually do some scanning on it, right? Is that correct?
Exactly, that is a typical task when it comes to quality control. We have a scanning equipment and we do measurements. We measure the gaps and so on that everyone who loves cars always looks
Yeah,
at,
of course,
whether
yeah.
they are perfect. And that is a task that AEON can do and learn, also based on the strong background from Hexagon when it comes to measurements. And we already saw in the trials that the way it scans is even smarter than some of our humans thought in the past was the best way of doing it. And that's one of the benefits as well when you bring AI into such a task, and then you have instant transfer into our cloud with our data, and that is very exciting to see in action.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I was in San Luis Potosi, I think last year, and there was a workshop where we had a chance to see the quality control on the cars, and there were actually humans and different scanners that were scanning the car. So do you think that this robot can do a better job than that particular system?
It's certainly more reliable because humans make mistakes, and we can check the robot and make sure that it doesn't make.
I guess the repetitive factor is more important, because if you make me open the door the same way 20 times, I'm probably going to open it differently at some point.
We have a lot of workplaces where we do also vision control. As people still need to check the car for any scratches, surface dents, and so on. And this is something a robot can do also much better, more reliable, and it doesn't get tired.
Gotcha. Perfect. So maybe let's do the actual demo and see what he can do. We're going to ask one of our friends to start it up.
All right.
And then see, I guess he's ready. So there's sitting right there, and I guess to just point it out, because I know somebody asked the question, they're sitting because they're conserving energy, because they don't have to be balanced out and all of that.
Yeah, the wheels are very efficient when it comes to operation, but of course this is the best way to conserve energy.
Gotcha. All right, so here we go, Michael. It's getting up.
Starting up, and
so
now
what's that tool in its hand? Maybe we start with that.
That's actually a scanner, which allows us to do these precise measurements. It's a standard scanner that we have today, also a human operating, but now since it's provided by Hexagon, it's attached to the robot and does already the data feed straight away into our system backbone. And now it will scan the part.
And you'll see something on the screen, basically, where you will have.
And the cool thing about AI in this case is that you could tell it, scan the door of a car, and it knows, will know what a door is, what to look at, and then the front door, back door, and so on. So you can give verbal instructions. This is the language model part of the AI we're using here, and it combines with the physical AI part, that it actually moves around and makes sure that it can scan all the geometry that is out there and cover it completely, and we see the results up on the screen here, and then it will tell us, is the part okay, is the door okay or not okay, and will also tell us when the scanning process is complete.
And to touch on the artificial intelligence, because this is physical AI, which is cool, but in a way,
I have completed the scanning of the car door.
Here we go. So it's even talking to us. Well, thank you. So what can the robot learn from this and apply in the future? Because if you think about automation in a plant right now, you have all these robots building cars, and they're pretty much predefined software.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just executing.
We call it teaching and programming.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
What can that one do when it's learning? So how is that robot going to help you by scanning this car and feeding back the data into the system and learning? How can you be
in general, in physical AI, we talk about skills, and that applies also to a human. You can do a golf swing, you can do a surf in tennis. You need to learn that skill, and you learn it by repeating it. Sometimes we need 20 iterations, sometimes 50, sometimes 100. And we do this often with teleoperating. You've seen also today that somebody with a motion suit or cameras starts doing these motions. This is what something our workers could do, and then teach the robot a new skill. Once it has the skill, it will replicate it to the whole fleet of robots. They will all learn and know how to scan. And then we know already this is possible. Then we learn front door, back door. We could go on, all parts of the car, and always enable the whole fleet to pick up these skills.
Gotcha.
This is how the training process works.
And now more on the geeky side of things, does this one come with a context window? So in any LLM, you have a context window, right? Even in iDrive, if you use the Alexa, it has a context window and it expires. do you have the same thing? So let's say they repeat the same task over and over. Sometimes it runs out of the context window. What do you do? No? Oh, okay, so you don't
that
have
would be that would
you're
be
never going to be in it. Because you see, do you see where I was going, right?
Yes,
so what's going to happen next
true.
if you don't have the context window?
No,
So
I mean, in the end, we're talking about a nice problem to have. But in the
because
end,
that means that you're doing a
not
lot.
every robot will understand all skills, because that would be crazy. This would be the super robot of all times. Yeah? So we will have them specialized for the body shop or for the paint shop or something like that, and it will have all the skills in this area. But it also learns about our production context. It will know what a 4 series is or an i4 and so on, what parts we're talking about, side frame and so on. Will be common knowledge. It's more of an industrial foundation model for BMW in the sense, but then specific motion tasks other than moving around and picking and placing could be very specific to a technology like the paint shop.
And then ideology question, can it be like a world at some point where, let's say, one of the robots, you can like an orchestrator and it can spin up some agents, basically transferring tasks or splitting tasks, smaller tasks to that? Is that something that you'll be useful in production or something? I mean, they do it on the software side, which
They
is
do it
different.
in the virtual world, they do it in the software world. We use a lot of agents when it comes to, and you've seen it maybe earlier in the in Milan Nedeljkovic presentation, participating in engineering tasks. I don't see this in the physical AI world. Unless we move a couple of stages further into the evolution where you have different robots collaborating, and you could have simple ones that just do the scanning and others operating, then potentially, but hey, this is another nice problem to have. We're far away from that.
So what's the biggest hurdle today in maybe the adoption of these robots in industrialization, especially in the car industry?
2 hurdles, I would say. First, availability. We just don't have many to work with. This is a scarcity problem in the industry right now. And secondly, the long time it still takes for training to make a use case work. You've seen our timeline. Pilot in Q2, production in Q2 is half a year, 6 months gone until we have one use case. And this will speed up significantly. Virtual training, more teleoperating, more of these skills. But right now, this takes a long time.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And good luck. Look forward to seeing this one in action in the plant in the future.
We will show you.
And I'll follow him around to see what he does. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.